welcome back to a very, very late Chicago Bears postgame show. We are here talking about the Bears Road Warriors victory in week 4 of the 2025 NFL season. It's hard to believe that a month is already over. We have officially turned the page as of today, actually, to October.
Yeah, so there will be 5th week now.
And you know what that means, Nika.
No.
Here in the great state of Arizona, that means only one more month of football at 10 a.m. It will then be at 11 a.m. because we have no daylight savings time here. We just roll with it. We stay where we are. And while the rest of the world changes, we now stay the same. And people apparently love that here. I hate it because
I do like it.
I like my 10 a.m. football. I just need it, you know, and then it becomes 11 o'clock and I'm all off.
Oh, but it's okay.
It's 6:15 on Sunday night football. Oh, ouch, man. I need it at 5:15.
I like that your body doesn't have to adjust. That's what I like about it.
It's awful. Oh, you know what else was
Awful?
not awful, but ugly?
Oh.
Was this Chicago Bears victory, Nika. The Bears, that's right. They go into Las Vegas. One of the first times I think they've played on the road at this stadium, if I remember correctly, before the game. Because it was a mixed crowd of like a 50-50 Bears-Raiders audience watching the game live in Vegas. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, the Bears win 25-24, a 1-point road victory. It all happened on a blocked field goal at the last minute after the Bears scored a go-ahead touchdown with less than 2 minutes remaining.
It was a nail-biting ending.
It was, and we enjoyed watching it, even though it got quite stressful. But it's always more fun when you win these games.
Of course.
So here we are, smiling Wednesday. Now we're a little late because also we had the MLB playoffs starting, and we had a dramatic finish to the season on Sunday. So a lot happening here at the Kenikkasports show, and just 2 people working on it here, folks. You see them both right now. That's the operation. Hello. I guess you could count Frexy.
Yeah, she's the...
Hold on a second. We got to get to it. Look, we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly from this Chicago Bears game as kind of a new format for the post-game show. But if this is your first time here, please do us a solid and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell, everybody. Ding dong. And please do that for our mascot, Frexy. She loves attention. Thank you so much.
Well, that's out of the way.
All right, Nika. Well, we got the good, the bad, and the ugly. And who knows, with a Bears bye week coming, we might have graphics for this next time we do this after a Bears game. But I want to keep this format after a Bears game because I think it's kind of fun to, like, you know, we can always find some good, we can always find some bad, and we can certainly find some ugly in every football game, I think. So it's fun to find those things. Mm-hmm. But I want to start with the good here because it was good. The Bears clawed their way to a huge road victory. They put their record at 2-2 heading into this week 5 bye week. The Bears are in a group of teams that have their first this is the first week that there are bye weeks for any teams. So the Bears get to go first, and Ben Johnson has spoken about how this is an advantage for the Bears because it gives them an early chance to work on some things.
Okay.
And this is the soonest is that the right word? The earliest, I guess, in the season that they could have possibly had a bye, and they get it. And Ben Johnson views that as an advantage because they get to work on things maybe before some other teams.
So when is their next game since it's a bye week?
That's a great question. Their next game will be, let me see here, October 13th, Monday Night Football against the Washington Commanders. And that is a revenge game, folks, because the Bears last year went into Washington and had them on the ropes only to blow it in the closing moments on a Hail Mary and maybe quite possibly change the entire trajectory of their season, the fate of their head coach, Matt Eberflus. Everything could be tied to that game.
Sure.
But here we are. We are in the Ben Johnson era now, and we are excited because he's got Caleb Williams doing better things. It wasn't great in this game, but the Bears did claw their way back to victory. They did have a touchdown with less than 2 minutes left, and that means Caleb Williams led a drive at the end of a game to score a touchdown to go ahead on the road, and I think that's a great sign this early in the season. You know, Las Vegas is not an easy place to play, despite the home crowd advantage, disadvantage, whatever you want to call 50-50. The Bears also won on a blocked field goal here. This was after they surrendered a big run back off of the kickoff after that Caleb Williams touchdown. So I thought that was huge for the special teams to come up here after the Raiders got back into field goal position to possibly kick a game-winning field goal, and the Bears block it. Doesn't happen. We walk out of there with victory. It's huge.
It was a huge road victory for the Bears.
It was. Ben Johnson said going into this game that because both the Bears and the Raiders were 1-2, that this was going to be kind of an ugly game or have some ugliness factor to it because they're desperate. Both teams are playing desperate at this point. The difference between being 2-2 and 1-3, between being 500 and 2 games below 500 after only a month of the season is a huge, huge difference. And now the Bears have this practice week here with the bye before they have to get ready for Washington next week, who does look like they are getting Jaden Daniels back. He has had a leg injury. He's been out for the past 2 weeks. I know this because he's on my fantasy team. Caleb Williams has stepped up. He's my backup quarterback on my fantasy team, and he and Jaden might be competing for the top spot, you know, because I feel like Caleb...
You have both of them on your team?
I do. I wound up drafting both of them, and it just happened that way.
I see.
And so it's an interesting like week-to-week comparison of the two quarterbacks. Jaden definitely started out better than Caleb did, but Caleb really stepped up in week 3 against the Cowboys, having one of the best games of his career. And then here, he had an okay game against Las Vegas on the road, but he got it done when it mattered most. And now he has this practice week and this opportunity to sort of hit the reset button. They're 500, and they got to go forward now without a bye week for the rest of the season, which is going to be 13 more games.
That's not a lot of games.
It's not.
It's a long season, but it's not a lot of games. It's
right, but there's no more bye week coming in like week 10, you know, where you have like maybe right in the middle of your season, so to speak, versus, you know, it's coming early, which Ben Johnson views as a positive from a reps standpoint, because the more repetitions that Caleb Williams can get, the better off the Bears are going to be. Now is the one time where they get 4 weeks worth of games and experience in this offense, in actual gameplay, to now go back and say, what can we practice on for a week? What encompasses all 4 of these games? What that we can work on?
What do you think they should be working on? Because I think they need to start working on getting less penalties.
That's in my ugly section that I got coming up. But yeah, no, you didn't. I just wanted to explain why I feel like this win was so important. But in doing so, you kind of brought up one of the factors of that is like it's a chance to work on the ugliest parts of your game, right? So we will talk about some of those things in the ugly week, or in the ugly segment of the Bears breakdown.
Okay.
All right. A good thing, the Bears, they scored on the opening drive of the second half. This came after a Tyreek Stevenson interception, but I've been critical of the Bears coming out of halftime and stalling out, you know, and looking at this as like a coaching thing, actually, is because you want to see the coaches out adjust their opponents. And when the Bears are stalling out, it doesn't reflect kindly on those coaching decisions. I'm not saying it's always Ben Johnson's fault. I think Caleb's made some bad throws in some of those situations, but on the whole, that speaks to coaching and play calling too. And are you calling plays that the quarterback is comfortable with in those situations? So there's never just blaming one specific person, but it was great to see them get this touchdown, and it was a Rome Odunze touchdown, his 4th straight game of the season to start the season with a touchdown. That's amazing.
That's great.
Yes, and we'll have more about that at the very end of the show. I promise you. Now, the Bears also scored a touchdown on their very last drive of the game, and that was when it mattered most, when they were down on the road and by 5 points, 24-19. They scored the touchdown. They did not get the 2-point conversion here to go up by 3, which wound up being inconsequential because the Bears blocked that field goal. But man, you don't want to see that happen in the future. You want to see them execute and put that extra pressure on the other team.
No, that's another thing they can work on.
But at the end of the day, Nika, this was an all phases victory. You know, defensive turnovers were abound. The Bears have 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery. And speaking of special teams, Kairos Santos, a kicker that we've been a little bit critical of and wondering what Ben Johnson's patience threshold is going to be. He goes 4 of 4 on field goals here on the road and gets a game ball from Ben Johnson. So I think he's probably going to be good for a while. I don't know, unless he has a really awful couple of games.
Well, they still have the other guy. They got... I forget the team that was supposed to help him out when he was...
the Niners. They did pick up the 49ers kicker who was cut. His name is also escaping me at the moment. But yeah, I mean, it's never bad to bring in some competition. But I also want to point out that Kairos Santos is a captain this year. You know, he was voted as a captain by the players. So I think he's probably going to be the Bears kicker this season. Like I said, unless something goes really bad for like 2 to 3 straight weeks and it's like, you know, key missed opportunities.
It's kind of cool to have a kicker as a captain.
Yeah.
You don't really hear
he's
that
like the
a lot.
captain of the special teams, you know?
I understand, but
exactly.
he's still a
No,
captain.
I know. It's great. And, you know, he's a veteran. So
Yeah.
he's here, and I think we're stuck with him for now. So let's wish him the best because we're going to need his leg.
Keep those legs healthy.
Keep drilling him dead center, buddy. Especially as the weather sours and the wind picks up along the lakefront.
Yeah.
Somehow people think this is an advantage for the Bears in the postseason. That's a topic for another day. Let's talk about some of the bad, though, in this game, Nika, because there was some bad, and I do want to talk about the offense again. And this is where we're going to go here with the bad. The Bears trailed this game 14-9 at halftime. It was the first time I could think this entire season, even through the ugly Lions game, that the Bears failed to score a first half touchdown. And that is something that I don't want to see become a habit. In fact, the Bears scored on their opening drive the first 2 weeks of the season, and then they failed to do it last week at home against Dallas. And then they wound up scoring touchdowns on their very next 2 drives, which I think sort of negated all the conversation about that. But here we go again. They didn't score on the opening drive, and they didn't score at all in the first half. 3 field goals, no touchdowns. Ben Johnson likes to score touchdowns, folks. He hates settling for field goals and stuff like that. And
he's the offensive coordinator.
Of course, that's good, you know, like...
You want to see the touchdowns. That's what makes the game interesting.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants to come in and see that.
But it was huge to make all 3 of those field goals by Kairos Santos in the first half and keep this game 14-9 within a touchdown.
Yeah.
Because as we said in our good section, the Bears did come out and score on their first possession after halftime, which was a feather in their cap, something that they hadn't done yet this season. All right. Another thing going on in this game was Max Crosby, the defensive lineman for the Las Vegas Raiders. He was wreaking havoc all day on Caleb Williams, and he is a defensive end, if you didn't know. He was blocking passes at the line of scrimmage, I think 3 or 4 times in the first half alone. And it was just driving me crazy as a viewer because I was just like wanting to see where the ball was going to the receiver and which receiver, and it wasn't even getting there, you know? It was so annoying. And then one of these tipped passes winds up in his own arms and he gets an interception off of it. And it's like, oh, that's the last kind of interception you want to see. It really is. So it was tough. Nevertheless, Max Crosby, Caleb Williams called him the fastest, one of the best players that he's ever faced in his entire career. And he was definitely a force to be reckoned with. Hopefully something the Bears can work on in the bye week and use as a benchmark, for how to get better in the pass protection area when you're facing a defensive lineman like him. He's not going to be the first or the last.
Absolutely.
So they got to work with what they have and figure it out. I don't know if it was Max Crosby, but Caleb Williams looked rushed a lot in his process when he was playing through the game. And I think this leads to like rushed throws or just bad timing in general. His completion rate was under 60%. It was 59.5 technically. But still, the goal before the season with Ben Johnson and him agreed upon was 70%. So when you're 10% below, I think you got to take your own responsibility and accountability for that. Now, I do think, like I said, I don't want to tear Caleb down too much because he got it done when it mattered most. He's helped us score right after halftime, flipped the script a little bit. It's 16-14 Bears. And then at the end of the game, obviously, we get the drive on the last possession that we have the ball. We go ahead on the road. And then, of course, the rest is history. Special teams gets it done with that block. It was great. But I think another thing to work on in the bye week is the timing in this offense. And run as many reps as you can of the plays that have given you problems. Like Ben Johnson called these plays for a reason. And if they were run poorly, like let's run them 100 times or whatever we need to.
Yeah.
Let's get all the reps in that we can so we have that arsenal going forward. We want to see the playbook expand, I think, a little bit coming out of a bye week. Like we can incorporate more of Ben Johnson's offense into the game planning and the game planning.
Well, with that come different results.
Well, maybe the repertoire. The more plays you have at your disposal, the better you can attack your opponents. All right. Well, Caleb Williams finishes the day, 212 yards, just 5.73 yards per attempt. That's almost half as few as he had the week before against Dallas. He was at 10.64. So quite a bit of a drop there. Like we said, you want to be at around 7 or 8 to be great in this league. And so 5.73 is not getting it done. So that does need to improve. And there were some dropped passes in this game again.
We are still talking about the bad, not the ugly, correct?
We are.
Okay.
We are. We are still talking about the bad.
Nice.
But yeah, just to put a bow on the bad, as you are pointing out, the passing game of Caleb Williams still requires growth. I think it's in a much better place, though, than it was under Matt Eberflus at any point of last season.
Well, it's an upgrade in the coaching department.
Yeah, this was the kind of game that I think the Bears lose last year under Matt Eberflus, if that makes sense.
Oh,
this
totally.
is a game that they win under Ben Johnson, obviously. So
if you make that comparison, yes.
I just look at that as like a comparison for sure. Okay, well, Nika mentioned it. I'm going to talk about it. The ugly, everybody. And it starts and ends with the running game on both sides of the football for the Bears this week. The run offense was ugly. The running game has yet to get going for this Bears team, and it is something that probably also is affecting Caleb Williams on offense. When you have no ground game to establish and keep the defense guessing, they know that you're going to be passing most of the time. So there's that. And then on the other side of the football, it was the run defense for the Bears, which was just embarrassed by Ashton Genty, the number 1 draft pick by the Raiders this past season, the number 6 overall NFL draft pick this past season, and someone that I had really, really hoped the Bears would move up and draft.
Well, they didn't.
Well, they didn't, and he really, he might have known that. There was betting odds on draft day.
He might have been pissed off that he didn't get drafted by the Bears.
I mean, the best pro athletes will find any motivational fuel.
Of course.
And so, who knows? But the Bears offense here, 26 carries on the day for just 69 yards. That's 2.7 yards per carry. Yuck.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was in high school, the goal was like to get to 5 yards a run. And I think in the NFL, you want to be at like 4 to 5 yards a run still on average. 2.7 is well below the average. That's got to change. So if there's anything that the Bears need to spend a lot of time on, this week, aside from Caleb Williams getting reps in the passing game, it's run blocking and getting your ground run blocking game going. Those offensive linemen need reps too as they come together and gel as a unit. And there's probably some changes happening on the offensive line with Ozzie Trapillo, the draft pick, getting incorporated more. So let's see what they look like coming out of the bye week and into the Washington game as a unit. But hopefully we see some improvement in the ground game. At least 3.5 yards get me a carry at the end of the day.
Improvement by a yard, okay.
Well, I'm just saying, get me closer to 100 yards a game so that I still want my 200 plus yards out of Caleb every day, but I need that balance. I need more yards per carry, and then that will open up more things in the passing game too when teams have to at least account and keep you honest. I don't think they're keeping you honest right now. DeAndre Swift, the Bears' main running back, 14 attempts for just 38 yards. That's just 2.7 yards a carry, right where they're at on average. He had a long of 13. So think about that. He had 13 attempts for 25 yards. That's less than 2 yards a carry. That's got to change, when you have just one carry of 13 yards, making it so unbalanced. He did have a rushing touchdown to close out that final drive, so that is big. And he also had 4 receptions for just 22 yards. Again, about 5 yards a catch. It's an outlet receiver thing, but you would hope that there would be a little bit more there. All right. Well, the Bears' defense on the other side of the ugliness factor, 31 attempts running the ball, so 5 more attempts for the Raiders than the Bears, but 240 yards gained on the ground. Just an absolute thrashing. The Bears had 2.7 yards a carry. The Raiders had 7.7 yards a carry. They were getting 5 yards more just per carry. The Raiders were like gold star amazing, and just beating the Bears up. Ashton Genty, we mentioned him, 21 attempts. He had 7 more attempts than DeAndre Swift, had 138 yards, 100 more yards on the ground. He had a rushing touchdown, including a 64-yarder he broke. A 64-yarder, breakaway speed. That's when you can get past everyone and they can't catch you. How often you see guys get caught from behind? Not a lot of people are going to be catching Ashton Genty from behind. So, huge touchdown. And the Bears are lucky that they survived a backbreaker like that one on the road, He also had 2 receptions, but get this, Nika, both of them touchdown receptions. So he had 3 touchdowns against the Bears in this game total. Again, a guy that we had both wanted the Bears to draft up and get. Sad.
That is sad.
It just makes you wonder, but we got to move past it.
You have to.
We got to. Penalties. You mentioned it earlier. It's the last part of my ugliness factor, but the Bears had 8 penalties for 60 yards on the road here. The Raiders had 5 for 36. When you are getting out penalized, am I saying that right?
Out penalized?
When you are out penalizing your opponents on the road, you are in deep trouble. You are in deep trouble. And again, the Bears should be lucky that they got a win here.
Yeah, it was a lucky break for them.
It was. So they definitely need to clean up their penalty game in the off week, in the bye week here. And they need to definitely spend some time on their run blocking and their run defense. Aside from everything else they need to work on with the passing game and expanding the playbook and all that. It needs to happen. So there's never a dull moment in the NFL. And the only thing that we get is just a reprieve from kind of getting to watch a game on Sunday and cover it.
That's true.
We don't get to see the results of what they're working on right now.
We don't see the grind of every day, how they meet, what they do, what exactly they are working on.
It's there. The conversation is there.
Sure.
There's media meetings and things like that. But,
that's a glimpse.
It is. People don't believe anything until they see it in the game. And that's the end of the story. Now, Caleb Williams has 8 touchdown passes this year and just 2 interceptions through the first month. I think if you were to ask Bears fans that before the season started, are you happy about that? Or is that good enough? They would be like, yeah, that's great. You know, the thing that I think we want to see more of is just the timing come into sync more and just more consistency. Consistency comes with repetition. I believe in Caleb Williams and his abilities watching him play. Like, he throws nice passes when he can, when he has time, when he doesn't feel the speed of the game getting to him, like, or the speed of the individual moment that he's in. And I think that's all comes with repetition.
Well, yeah, he sees the pocket shrinking and he goes in the overdrive to get rid of the football.
Absolutely. All right. Well, last thing. I want to talk about the player of the week, Nika, because the player of the week that I chose did not get a game ball from Ben Johnson after the game.
Who's the player of the week?
Well, I want to talk about first the players who did get balls from Ben Johnson. Kevin Byard, who had 2 interceptions in this game, big-time playmaker. Cairo Santos, who went 4 of 4 on field goals in this game. And Josh Blackwell, who was the special teams player who came up with the big blocked field goal at the end of this game. He also won NFC Player of the Week for special teams.
Okay.
Josh Blackwell. So congratulations to him. The Bears tweeted him out, Blockwell. Nice play on words there for his last name.
Very fitting for his position.
Well, his name is Blackwell, just to be clear.
Okay.
But they played on the words Blockwell.
Sure.
The Bears also get their 800th win, Nika, as a franchise in NFL history. The sad fact is that there are teams that are far ahead of them now, and they were the OG.
Hey,
so,
it's okay.
You know, but 800 is 800, and that's pretty damn cool.
It's a round number, sexy number.
But we have to talk about one player on the Bears in particular, number 15, Rome Odunze, everybody. The Bears' first-round wide receiver draft pick last year, who I think, by all intents and purposes, because of the state of the Bears last year, had a quiet rookie season, right?
Well, and also who was coaching them. That play a factor.
Of course. So
he's on the offense, and he,
yes, now we are through a month of his second season, and Rome Odunze, everybody, has 5 touchdown receptions already
That's
to
fantastic.
start the year. And that's 1 a game plus 1 game with 2. And well, he's now the first Bears player to start the season with a touchdown in the first 4 games since 1986. And if you haven't guessed it already, of course, it is the late, great Walter Payton. I mean, how special is that?
It's huge.
Rome Odunze does something that hasn't been done since Walter effing Payton.
That's because his name is Rome.
Yes. Are you not entertained, everybody? I am. I'm entertained
Definitely.
watching Rome Odunze play this year. I'm entertained watching Rome Odunze's fashion this year. He's really coming into his own as an NFL wide receiving threat all of a sudden after, like I said, sort of a quiet rookie year that was probably affected by this whole coaching regime from last year.
Most likely, yes.
Ben Johnson knows what he has in Rome Odunze, and so does Caleb Williams. And there was a reason why Caleb Williams, despite everything bad that happened last year at the NFL draft, when Rome Odunze was taking, turned to his buddy or his handler or whoever was with him and said, yes, we got our man. Rome Odunze is the man right now for the Bears, and I expect him to continue catching touchdown passes this year in Ben Johnson's offense. So look out for that, folks. Look out for Rome. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, they didn't build Rome in one day.
They did not.
So,
All right. Well, that is our very, very late Bears postgame show. A huge victory when looking at where we might be if we had lost this game. 1-3. Could you imagine, Nika? It was not pretty all the time, but there are some things to be hopeful about as well. I hope we communicated that. And now the Bears are in this bye week, and we will be using that opportunity coupled with the end of the MLB regular season. And we are going to shift into some more national football talk, do some topics, and do some our regular Bears coverage as well. So look for some new and exciting NFL coverage in the next couple of weeks, everybody, on the Kenikka Sports Show.